public safety may require it. Public Law 100-690, Section 7323 provides for a special committee on habeas corpus review of capital sentences appointed by the Chief Justice of the United States. The purpose of the special committee is to recommend to the Chief Justice of the United States, who will forward the recommendation to the Chairman of the Committee on the Judiciary of the Senate, a proposal of a bill to modify federal habeas corpus procedure. Quotes from PL 100-690. This bill is to modify habeas corpus procedure, must be reported with or without recommendation by the Committee on the Judiciary of the Senate by the end of the 60th day of the session after the submission of the report, or the bill must be automatically placed on the appropriate calendar of the Senate. Once the habeas corpus bill is on the calendar, it is not debatable. It is not subject to a motion to postpone. Reconsideration of the vote by which their motion is agreed to or disagreed to shall not be in order under this Act. Only one motion in the Senate shall be in the order pursuant to this paragraph, and such motion shall be decided by a roll call vote. Sit up and take notice. Section 7323 states that this habeas corpus legislation is enacted by Congress as an exercise of the rulemaking power of the Senate, and as such, it is deemed a part of the rules of the Senate. Can you believe this treason? Chapter 33 of Title 28, United States Code, is amended by adding at the end thereof Section 540, which states that the Attorney General and the FBI may investigate felonious killings of officials and employees of a state or political subdivision when such investigation is requested by the head of agency employing the official or employee killed, and under such guidelines as the Attorney General or his designee may establish. Notice that the above paragraph does not say by invitation of the state, but says by the employing agency. Once the feds are involved, they always hold jurisdiction. This is serious. It could establish the legal precedents for justification of a police state. Once the court rules that the states have given up their right to jurisdiction under this Act. Notice that it only involves crimes of a political nature. Businesses are required to report all cash transactions of $10,000 or more. It has been reported to me, but not verified, that this requirement has been lowered to $3,000. This has nothing to do with drugs, but everything to do with the IRS. I also want to interject that civil forfeiture, if you don't know what that is, look it up online. It's horrendous. Horrendous. If you want to talk about no rights, they can seize your money and then you have to go to court and sue them to get your money back. So you have to go to the expense to sue them to get your own money back. So the deck is definitely stacked against us. This Act establishes a requirement to record and verify the ID of a purchaser of money order or other financial institute of $3,000 or more. Why? This is a big one. The Act orders another study to be made on whether to withdraw $100 bills and $50 bills from circulation. This would virtually propel us into a cashless society. Imagine this. He's talking about this back in 1990. $23 million has been allocated for a machine-readable identity program document. The excuse used is to be able to identify known criminals who attempt to cross borders. The type of border is not named or required in legislation and could be the border of your city, county, or state. It also raises the question of how they are going to get criminals to accept the identity document program without requiring all citizens to participate. The Act requires a study of feasibility of requiring aircraft to carry operating transponders so that they can be tracked, including the intercept. The use of military aircraft is assumed due to the fact that the military is the only agency which has such a capability. Of any aircraft not in a proper flight corridor. The Act requires a study to be made on requiring onboard monitoring devices on commercial motor vehicles to record speed, driving time, and other information. It further requires the utilization of existing government laboratory facilities. This would include night vision, ground sensor and communication electronics, physical electronic security, imaging electronic image surveillance, and a whole bunch of other surveillances which probably weren't even around back then. The Act calls for the expenditure of $120 million for the Bureau of Justice Statistics, a national clearinghouse of data from federal, state, and local criminal agencies. Grant money will be made available for state and local agencies to hook into the data system. Gun sellers will have to check for a buyer's police record. The Act includes a special note from the Attorney General to include domestic violence information in the system. My sources have informed me that the New World Order plans to execute any person who has exhibited any degree of violence during their life. A fist fight while in the service would qualify you. They believe that violence is hereditary, and this could mean execution of family members as well. This Act calls for a study of the feasibility of establishing an international criminal court, the World Court. An international criminal court would have no jurisdiction or authorization over any citizen of the United States of America unless we surrender our sovereignty to the New World Order. No weapons to be allowed in federal buildings. Up to 1 year imprisonment for carrying a weapon into any federal facility. The only exception is a pocket knife, but only if the blade is less than 2.5 inches long. The Act has authorized postal authorities to serve warrants, subpoenas, make arrests, carry firearms, and make seizures in matters involving use of mail. The Post Office Department is a private corporation and is not part of the federal government. How can they be allowed to function as a federal police if they're not federalized? Are post office employees destined to become a part of the National Police Force? It is now illegal to mail or send locksmithing equipment to anyone but a locksmith. Many common tools can be classified as locksmithing equipment. This Act legalizes the arming of aircraft in other countries for defensive purposes and drug control. Say again? If this had been in existence a few years ago, the Iran-Contra affair would have been legal, with only a statement that the arms were for defensive purposes and drug control. The Act mandates that military installations are to be used as mental treatment centers or prison camps with work programs. Does this sound like Russia? In addition, the Russia of then maybe, not today probably. In addition, $200 million will go for new prisons. Plus, proceeds from seized and forfeited property are to be used for construction of prisons, rewards for information or help, or for other things the Attorney General need not report. The Act states that prison industries may borrow and invest funds. Prison industries may diversify their products and produce products on an economic basis. Provide a labor pool, Soviet Union style. It authorizes a study for the feasibility of requiring prisoners to pay their costs for food, housing, and shelter at paid employment before, during, or after